And I thank you for the update, and congratulations to the entire team. I think we are all impressed by the incredible work that's being done. And I want to touch on two things you just talked about in your testimony. First, you mentioned competitiveness in the current environment. And we know that the Office of Science's National Labs has several world-class user facilities, including 5 light sources, 2 neutron sources, an array of particle accelerators, the fastest supercomputer in the world, Summit, which is located at Oak Ridge National Lab. In terms of the technological capabilities, power, capacity, and access, how do these facilities compare with competitors around the world, and how do our investments in these facilities contribute to the U.S.'s global leadership in scientific research?
Well, thanks for the question. I'd say they compare very favorably. Most obviously, supercomputing is the most famous, where we're sort of strikingly ahead at the moment. But it's a horse race, and so it's not a place where you can let up, your guard. We're developing new technologies. Particularly important are accelerator technologies, and these are also fundamentally dual use. So while we're pushing, forward the frontiers of science and the capabilities of these machines, we're also developing technologies that are relevant to national security, as are other countries around the world. So we mentioned China earlier. They are very keen to compete with us, not just to have capabilities, but to attract scientists from around the world, which is what these world-class facilities do. So I say we're in a reasonably good place, but it is a horse race. Europe, the United States, China, Japan, it's not so differentiated when it comes to those key technologies.
Thank you. That's helpful. I think the other topic I definitely want to touch on is sort of in the context of this horse race and this competitive international environment. There also is an emphasis on international collaboration. And in your testimony, you mentioned the global nature of the research conducted at the Office of Science and threats to misappropriation of technology that raises with the international collaboration. Kind of relating to that topic, I think one of the things that's going on simultaneously is that the administration's been taking steps to restrict U.S. researchers from participating in some foreign talent recruitment programs as well. So I think what would be helpful to us is to understand what actions the Office of Science has taken in response to that directive, and also how you can balance the need, or how you are balancing the need for protecting against potential misappropriation and protecting while at the same time participating in the collaborative international efforts that benefit the American research enterprise. Can you just talk a little bit about that to us?
Sure. Well, let me start by saying that it's for the Department of Energy. It's not just the Office of Science. This has been the effort to deal with misappropriation of technology and foreign talent programs and other sorts of behavior we'd characterize as not in the best values, not in the best scientific and technological values around the world. We're following the same guidance from originally the Deputy Secretary, now Secretary Brouillette. Yes, we've made it clear that if you are a member of a foreign talent recruitment program, particularly related to countries at risk, you will not be employed by the Department of Energy. It's sort of that simple and that complicated. Now, we're also, at our laboratories, we've announced publicly that we've developed a technology risk matrix of key technologies and their relevance to economic and national security. And so we use that to evaluate how likely we are to collaborate with a number of foreign partners, particularly those for countries at risk. That's now a part of our laboratory structure as well. So that's whether or not we will collaborate in certain technology areas. And that's where we are right now. And what we're doing at this point is pausing a little bit, see what the effect is, because at the end of the day, I think we all understand that China is a science and technology juggernaut, and in the long term, we're not going to be able to just close the doors and shut the windows. We're going to have to find a way to modify behavior and work together in some areas with the Chinese. So we're looking for a response, and we're also pausing to allow the interagency to take a breath, figure out what we've all done, and together, what's more important than the Department of Energy putting out a new policy about this, that, or the other aspect of this, it's that we do all of this together with the other agencies like the National Science Foundation, Department of Defense, and others who fund research. So largely looking inward at our laboratories and our employees, not yet imposing policies on the extramural community that we fund at universities and so forth. Is that a
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. And I just have a little bit of time left. I did also notice in your testimony that you mentioned the hope of renewing and refurbishing some of the facilities, so that that comment was not lost. And part of my sort of last question that maybe you can just touch on throughout the hearing is the ways that we in Congress can help advance these policy and other initiatives from this committee, the things that we can do to be helpful to you.